Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. It is the end of season awards. Woohoo! And that means it's a full team pod. We promised this not too long ago. How are we all doing? Just talk over each other. Who cares?
Awesome!
Yeah. Ian was so professional. Hi.
Delightful.
Hi.
Oh, yes,
Wonderful.
Michael.
All good.
The only one who hasn't replied apart from a little all good is Nick. Are you okay, Nick? Are you fine?
I just said all
No one
good.
cares.
Perfect. Yep. Perfect. Perfect.
Head up and
Starting
Michael
really
knocked
well.
it out of the park. Anyway, this is going to be carnage. As you can tell, it'll be bedlam. This will never, ever be in a million years with all of us on just half an hour. So buckle in and just wait.
Strap in, people.
Right, it's end of the season. It's officially done. We've already mentioned it on previous pods. Newcastle have got Champions League qualification. So like every team does at the end of the season, we have end of season awards, and we've also got a mini quiz, and we've got a little bit of a look to the future, and we're going to revisit our predictions at some point as well. I have no idea what order we're going to go in. All I know is we're going to start with the awards. All right,
Yes, Queen.
we've got a couple of awards. I'm not even going to announce all of them. I'm just going to start with one, and we're going to move on to the next. We're all going to give a player, and we're all going to argue with each other because none of us really like each other. For the people listening at home,
Apparently.
Tell them.
Apparently not.
This will be fun. Right. Let's start.
I didn't know that, you know. I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Ian.
None of us
It's because
like
we
them.
all love you, Ian, that's why.
Yeah, we all love you.
You're the glue that holds us
Uh-oh.
together.
That's all right then.
Something like that.
So, start with the obvious one. I think this will be pretty quick. I think. Player of the season. Who is this season's Newcastle United player of the season? Since we are gentlemen on the podcast, we'll start with the ladies. So we'll go with Joe. Obviously not going to start with Nick because I'm not that nice. We'll start with Joe, my favourite. Out of the ladies anyway.
you
She's
can't
third favourite
look
overall.
at
Third
you.
favourite overall, but out of the ladies,
I'll take third.
the favourite. Who's player of the season, Joe? Who is Newcastle United's player of the
I've had
season?
enough.
Oh, I've been saying it for months and I'm sticking with it. It's Big Dan Burn. He's got to have it, man.
Oh, big
Got to.
Dan Burn. Nick, who are you going with? We'll just fly through and we'll discuss it.
Are you sure you want my answer?
Go on,
No.
skip then. Michael,
Ian,
who are you going with? Michael, who's player of the season for you?
Sandro Tonali, mate.
Oh, nice. Ian, who are you going with?
I'm going with, he's from Blythe, you know. Big Dan Burn too.
2 for Dan Burn. Are we going to bother going? Nick, do you want to play now or are you still in the mood? Who's
Well,
your
no,
player
I
of the
still want to
season?
play. I've got Tonali or Ben, literally.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
Go
my
for Burn. I don't want to agree with you.
She's got a big Dan.
Absolute bastard. Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
I'm going for Tonali.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Mine was,
Ooh.
I think it is an obvious one, isn't it? It's out of M2. I think Burn was mine. I can't believe I'm seeing Dan Burn as player of the season. That's
Mad, isn't
mental.
it?
But he has been absolutely just colossus, hasn't he? And I think what tipped it for me is that first goal
Yeah.
at Wembley for so long. And I've
Mhm.
never experienced anything like that in my life. I wish, like I said on a previous pod, I wish I could bottle it up and just go from there. But right, are we going to agree? So, Michael, final vote, and then this will count towards it. Burn or Tonali?
I said Tonali, mate.
Sticking with him? Sticking with him?
Yeah.
Screw you.
Eh? Ian?
Put forward much of a convincing argument. I
Ian,
think it's
stick with
Big Dan Burn. I think he's lived a Hollywood film this year.
He has.
hasn't he?
Yeah. He has.
Yeah.
Wins the cup, picked for England. Fantastic.
After that, Michael, Tonali or Burn?
Well, you see, Sandro Tonali has had such a fantastic season. He's been the player. He's been consistently sevens across the whole time, and Dan Burn's just a colossus. He's just massive. So, tell you what, give it Dan Burn.
Massive.
Dan Burn's going. We're happy with Dan
Because
Burn.
he's massive.
Good.
Because he's huge.
Massive. Because he's massive. Dan Burn is our GSPN
Get in.
Newcastle Player of the Season. Well done. Right, the next one, I think this one's a little bit tough, right? Because Young Player of the Season, we've got a couple of obvious ones, but then there's injuries to take into account. So I think Ian's going to go first on this one. Ian, who did you put for Young Player of the Season?
It
What
was
happened
Lewis
to
Hall
Young?
until he got injured, but now
I agree.
it's Tino Livramento. He's just accelerated past him because he's even better at left back than Lewis Hall is.
Yeah.
So Tino.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Ian.
Wow, big, bold statement. Michael, do you agree with Tino or are you going with someone else?
No, I think it's Lewis Hall. I think there's a reason we were saying halfway through the season, Kev might be right with his shout of Trippier player of the season because he's about to get right back into the team. That's how poor Tino was at the start of the season. Hall was fantastic, but I do agree, since Hall's been injured, Tino Livramento on the left-hand side has been fantastic. But yeah, had to be Lewis Hall for me.
Oh, 1-1. Joe?
I've got Hall down because if Hall had have stayed fit this whole season, there's no way that kid was dipping in form. So yeah, and I appreciate where you come from, Ian, but I think that's a bit of a bold statement to say he's better than Hall. I'll hand it to you, he's been bloody amazing, but nah, Hall for me all day long.
I did say, and you can rewind and find out. I did say up until he got injured, it was Lewis Hall.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I know.
I did say.
Completed it with Tino's been better at left back.
I think Tino's was behind Hall, but quite good. And then because he's done the last 10 games, and he's been very good. I just give it the edge. But
okay.
I'm happy to go with Lewis Hall.
All right.
I promise.
I just agree with Michael, not you. It's fine.
If anyone's watching on YouTube, right? I promise nobody's drunk. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why we're all giddy. I don't know if it's my last one and we've got a bit of time off or something. But yeah, I don't know what's happening. Well, we've got to go Nick last, so I'll go next. For me, I think. I mean, Tino at the start of the season wasn't great. Trippier, Mike was right.
Cares, mate. Shut up.
Dislodged him. I think Hall's my pick as well. So Hall's going to be mine. I think it's 3-1. So Nick's vote actually doesn't matter. So we'll just move on. It's Lewis Hall for
I'm so glad I'm here. So glad I'm here.
Come on, Nicola. Who would you have went for?
Lewis Hall.
Oh, okay, 4-1.
Good choice.
There you go.
Just copying me every time.
Doesn't matter. But it's Lewis Hall anyway.
We don't have our own thoughts, Michael. It's fine. We just lead from you.
Yeah, lead from the start.
Next one. I think the next one's very hard. So we've literally got Burn. We've only went through 2 awards. Burn is player of the season and Lewis Hall is young player of the season, and we're 7 minutes in. Next one. It's the Joe Linton Award, and all that means is most improved, because let's face it, Joe Linton is arguably the most improved player in Newcastle's history. Joe Linton can't win this because he's been unbelievable for a while. So the Joe Linton Award, most improved. Go on then, Nick. You go first. Who are you going for most improved?
I put Jacob Murphy.
Most improved, Jacob? Has he not always been that good?
No.
Yeah, come on.
No?
Even I'm not going to say that, and I'm not that
stupid. Come on. This season, he's really, really had a great one. So, yeah, he is my most improved for this season.
Joe Linton Award. Are we Murphy all round, Joe?
What do you think? Come on.
Obviously,
it didn't even take a second thought, but yeah. Come on. And yes, he's so improved from any season ever that I don't even think he can do it again next season. I'd love to see it happen, but I'm also, as much as I worship the bloke, I'm also not that deluded.
Oh.
I mean, he improved from being Miguel Almiron's understudy last season, sitting on the bench, waiting for Miggy to get a bit tired so he could come on for the last 10 minutes, to one of the first names on the team sheet. So Jacob Murphy gets my vote too, head and shoulders.
Oh, wow. Is it a full house?
I think Lewis Hall could get an honourable mention as to how much he's improved compared to his first 6 months. But
yeah, it was times you couldn't even get him a squad, was it? When last season when he first signed you, or last season before, you could barely get him a squad. So and now he's been our young player of the season. Michael, is it Murphy all round?
No, absolutely not. Murphy
can't agree with Nick. He won't put the same answer as Nick.
I'm not doing it.
Look, Jacob Murphy this year, 20 goals and assists, absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to that per minute, he's actually worse than what he was last season. He got 10 goals and assists last season in less than half the minutes. So he's always been that good. He's just not really been given the time. And that's why I said at the start of the season he'd be fantastic. The player that I didn't think would be fantastic and has been is everyone else's player of the season, Dan Burn. Start of the season, we were all saying, we need a centre-back. Dan Burn can't be starting for us. Generally this year, he's been more important than Fabian Schär. Definitely more than Sven Botman because he hasn't been there. So, yeah, he was up there for player of the season for me. He's definitely the Joe Linton of 2024-25.
Michael's made is he changing?
I know he has made a great point. I'll be honest.
Great point, by the way. I mean, Joe, you look like you're changing your mind. Are you going for Burn?
You know what? And you know how much I love Murphy. So Michael, just bloody bravo.
Michael's done it.
Fair play to you, because. Yeah, but the point he's making about like the time he played last season and what he's played this season, like if he had played that time last season, could he have had 2 unreal seasons back to back? Michael, you've made such a great point that this is scary. You're going to make me change my mind to my beloved.
Wow.
He's beaten us by stats. You can't argue with the stats.
He always
and
beats us
Michael's
by stats, yeah.
proved
That's
it.
what
Well
Michael's here
done,
for, right?
Michael.
Proved it.
Fair play to you.
Ian,
I'm going to go with Michael.
changing? You're going Burn as well?
Switching to Dan Burn, yeah.
Nick,
Yeah.
Just gonna win them all.
You're going to follow Michael
Undeniable,
like
I'll be
you always
honest.
do?
Excuse me.
Are you going to follow Michael? Are you going to follow his
Go on,
opinion?
Michael, what are you about to chip in?
I was actually going to say the reason I made the point is because, and we'll get to this a bit later. It sounds like in the preseason predictions that I copied Nick, which is the joke I'm getting to later. So, but you're
So you
getting
can
bullied
copy
a
him
bit
now, Nick,
much
it's
for
fine.
my liking. So, I just thought I'd-
Bully's a strong
Right.
word. Don't bring the pod
Yeah.
down like that.
Tell you what,
Well, I'm
when,
reporting to HR, guys.
when Michael,
Gone in
when,
HR.
I
There's
am.
no
when
HR
Michael-
anymore,
No
Pat.
HR, yeah.
It's all gone.
when Michael is telling us that we're bullying Nicola too much, it's a bit like that time that Donald Trump stuck up for Zelensky because Vance was having such a go at him for what clothes he
We
was
can't
wearing.
get into politics here.
We can't, like, Ian.
The last
That
ever
just
episode.
compared
you
to
can- we're very sorry to Russia.
or whatever it is.
Ukraine and America.
You could.
I don't know which one he's comparing you to is a problem.
It's not Putin, but
I know
let's
it
leave it
had
at
a
that.
fake tan, but it didn't go
I'm
Donald Trump
comparing
way.
him.
You just needed the floppy hair and you're good to
I
go.
had seen the blonde hair. To answer your question, Kev, Michael did make a good point about the Dan Burn, but yeah, we'll go with Dan Burn. Very good point.
Oh, Dan Burn, most improved.
Yeah, very good
And
point made.
player of the season. Well done, Michael. That's a
Maybe I should
that
get
is
into
impressive.
politics. Very
You
convincing.
really should. You really should.
was yours,
Convince
Kev?
the
Can I
whole
make?
team.
I need to make a quick side point on it. I'm going to say most improved as a centre back because he remember how unreal he was at left back. Just a little side note.
The silence
All right,
tells
yeah,
everything.
crap. You'd think he was like totally crap or something. Like he had that mint left back season that nobody expected of him. Oh, I'll shut the hell up, will it?
Joe, don't worry, I'm right here with you, babe.
I'm like,
Oh, bad.
Joe, shut up.
I was going to cut the pod there and just end it, and that's my last ever thing, which is said, and then we got cancelled.
I wish I took a screenshot of everyone's faces as I said that. I was just like, all right then. That'll be a no.
Right, Burn is most improved as well. Unbelievable
yours?
effort.
Was that yours, Kev? Or
No,
you gonna
Burn
input it, or
wasn't
you just
mine.
going to sit on the sideline?
Mine was actually Lewis Hall, because, like I say, he wasn't really getting a lot of game time last year, and I did think it was because he was young. But when I did start doubting myself towards the back end of last season, thinking, does Howe just not trust him? Is it a mistake, or is he just giving him time? And then this season, he's just been. I mean, he got an England call up, didn't he? Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he actually went from barely getting a game for us to being called up for England. Lewis Hall was my pick, but then after hearing Michael's argument about Burn over Murphy, would I put Hall over Burn? Probably not, because I never expected this from Dan Burn, whereas I kind of always thought there was a player in Lewis Hall somewhere. So, yeah. Fair play. Michael's convinced us all.
Well done, Michael.
This one, I think this one's harder than what it sounds initially. When I first wrote down Goal of the Season award,
How
I was
about
a
your
little
most
bit-
disappointing moment of the season, by the way?
And individual moment of the season.
I didn't get
So
any
Kev,
of
you've
them.
gone off script.
I was doing the
Your
obvious
glasses
ones
off.
first, and then
All
I
right,
was
okay,
going to
sorry.
come back to the less obvious ones at the end, but
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do goal of the season. You're fine. Do goal.
Goal of the season then, because we have other awards.
Apparently.
Ian,
Spoiler.
who was your goal of the season this year for
Oh
Newcastle?
my
first.
god.
Yeah.
I am going to plump for, because there's been some really good goals actually, but I am going to go for the opening goal scored by Alexander Isak in the 3-3 draw against Liverpool.
What a strike. What a
Good
strike.
goal.
Rifles it
Fair
past.
play.
Outside of a box. You don't see many goals from outside the box. There is another famous one, but I'm not going to mention it. Nick, who's your goal of the season?
Despite the obvious one at Wembley, I'm gonna go for I loved Dan Burns. I have actually put down Tonali's goal versus Brentford. Did he mean it? Did he not mean it? That one.
Shot cross. Yeah, unbelievable. That's
Yeah.
the one I was talking about from outside the box one. Unbelievable goal. This could be hard to decide, by the way, when we have to actually talk about it. Michael?
Very similar to Tonali's. I've gone for the one that happened literally the week after. Jacob Murphy's against Crystal Palace,
you
where
meant
Very
he
good.
did exactly the same thing. A little bit closer, obviously, but you could see he meant it, and it's just an epitome of Jacob Murphy, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
unbelievable
audacity.
shout. Unbelievable shout. Joe?
I don't think you'll be shocked to hear that I picked the Murphy one as well, and especially because he's now had the Joe Linton award taken off him. He is 100% getting this one. Because I did write as a side note the Tonali thing, because they were similar goals, weren't they? But Murphy has to pip it, especially because he's had the other one stripped away.
That Murphy goal, by the way, is the only one where I've seen the crowd. Obviously, they cheer because it goes in, but then everyone's got to look at the screen for the replay to see what the hell actually happened for it.
Yeah.
And that's when you hear the sort of whoa right through the crowd when they actually
Yeah.
saw what he did.
Goal.
Amazing.
I've went Jacob Murphy, but a different goal, not that goal, amazingly. It's for one against Leicester, and there's a reason why. I know he's going to take a mick, but who cares? Fabian Schär shoots from his own half and hits the crossbar. Now, Jacob Murphy, 2 seasons ago, for me, would have got goal of the season when Isaac dribbled through the whole team and it fell to Murphy and he taps it in. Schär, again, should really get the credit, but it came off the bar from the halfway line and then it fell to Murphy, and that's my goal of the season.
Yeah.
There's also a little side note. That was the day my daughter was born. So I was watching it in the hospital.
Can't argue against that then, can we?
We're not here for sentimental value.
Yeah, we're not here for sentiment,
Good
but
point.
that's a reason why I've put it up there as well.
Kev, did you have a daughter, by the way?
I didn't actually.
Wait, what?
You haven't mentioned it, no.
Have I not? I've never
She's
mentioned
called
it.
Jacobina. Sorry. You got so excited when Jacob scored that goal.
Fabian Charlotte.
Yeah.
Fabian Charlotte. Ooh.
Right.
I like that,
Actually
actually.
awesome. I actually really like that.
What name's awesome?
Fabian Charlotte.
I want to have another
Fabian
child, so I can
Charlotte.
call it Fabian Charlotte, whether it's male
Wow.
or female.
I want to have a child with Fabian Shaw.
I mean,
All
there
right,
is that.
less of that, are we?
Right. Let's
And
get
have a
back on track.
whole
We'll try and
breed.
remain professional.
Anyway.
So we're gonna. I mean, I'll keep mine in. So we've got Murphy against Leicester. Murphy against Brentford. We've
Palace.
got Isaac against. Was it Palace? Was it
Yeah.
Tonali's was Brentford, I think.
Tonali Brentford
Was
Isaac Liverpool.
and Isaac Liverpool? Right. How on earth do we agree who wins this award? This is one of the hardest ones, I think.
It's hard, this one.
I'm inclined to agree with Ian on Isaac over Liverpool just because who it's against and the quality of the defender against him. Murphy wasn't marked.
Gets a yard.
Van Dijk was pretty much right next to Isaac. Its first touch takes Van Dijk out of the game, one of the only players who can do that on the planet, and he rifles it in. So I'm inclined to agree with Ian.
It's a pure strike as well. It's the closest to Martins against Spurs we've seen since Martins against Spurs. I know it wasn't as fast
Great
as that,
point.
but wow, it's unbelievable strike.
Very good.
Ian,
I'm not changing my mind, sorry.
I was just going to say that of the two mirror image goals, Murphy's is ahead of Tonali's because we're absolutely certain Murphy meant that. Whereas
Andy said he meant it.
even Tonali said it was about 30% a shot, 70% across.
But it still went in.
So I
think he was being humble there, mind. He was being
Nicola,
far too humble. Come on.
I'm trying to narrow the choice down to just 2 or 3
Why does
instead of
everyone
5.
hate me?
Murphy will do
chance.
peachy, Ian. You're right. I agree. It's
Yeah,
Murphy.
all right then. We'll
Well
go
done.
with Murphy. Yeah, okay.
we can't go with Murphy. I go Isaac as well if I have to pick out other people's.
Ooh, Nick, it
if
comes
it's
down to you
between-
then.
I think those two. I'm Isaac still with Michael.
I'm Isaac.
it's
Yeah.
3-1.
I was trying to eliminate the
matter then.
Tonali goal from the discussion and lose the sentiment and
Just eliminate Nick's shout. Well done, Ian.
Nick, stay with me, girl.
Forget the
Don't go
one.
with the boys.
Still 3-2 anyway. So goal of the
I don't
season
care.
goes to Alexander Isak against Liverpool. Well done, Alex. Great strike.
Well done,
Well
Alex.
done, Ian.
was a good strike.
Well done, Ian. Right, as the others kind of ruined it before. I mean, we
Joe
have some.
ruined it.
Wow.
We
Sorry.
have some different awards. We've got individual moment of the season. Now, this can be either completely personal, just something you saw you liked, or something you had and it was amazing, or it can be like a specific player, or it can be an opposing player. It can pretty much be anything. So what was the individual moment, something which happened completely on its own, which was just amazing for you to see in the season? Who do we start with? Who hasn't started for ages? Michael. Go on, Michael.
Okay, yeah. I think most people are going to say the other goal from this game, but I'm going to go the Alexander Isak goal in the cup final against Liverpool, simply because he had a goal disallowed just, a minute earlier, to then have the composure in the box of when the ball just comes down to you to swing your foot and score straight away, and then just, to do that Because you're
Love
sitting
that.
there, you're sitting there thinking it's been disallowed. We're gonna bottle this. This is going to be the turning moment of the game. We've seen it so many times, and then 60 seconds later, he does that.
Yeah.
Alexander Isak's forever in Newcastle folklore
Yeah.
as a hero.
What a moment. Scored the winner. Great point. Joe,
Yes.
what's your individual moment of the season?
However, I did go for the opposite one, just because Big Dan Burney's just an icon of the Geordies anyway, isn't he? So for him to just leap like a salmon in the big old shape that he is, bless him, and power that home. It's like, I don't know, we all went mental when Isak scored, don't get us wrong, with everyone screaming at the TV, yeah, but you're not taking that one off, I saw you, like this at the TV when Isak scored. But the way everyone went mental when Burn scored was just next level for me, so I've got to stick with that.
Very good.
It's a feeling that throughout the season, we've had a lot of great feelings this season. But I think that was a particularly special.
They're both amazing individual moments, and I'm sat here now very lucky to witness both, and I still haven't decided which one I'm going to go with, so I'm going to wait for Ian and Nicola to go. So Nick, what's yours?
I put two down, one being the Dan Burn goal, but I'll go different just to make it different. Mine was actually Carabao Cup final still, but when we lifted the trophy and Bruno called over Jamal Lascelles and him,
Great
Trent
moment.
and Jamal Lascelles all lifted it together. I think that was the epitome of the club and showed how together all the lads are, and made me feel very proud that we have someone like Bruno who takes into account everything and everyone of the team. So that was actually my individual moment.
Good point.
Amazing
I
point.
just say,
Love that.
I think Nicola has got the spirit of this award much better than just
I
picking
agree.
any other goal. We've already had a chance to vote on the goal of the
agree.
season, kids. So
I
I
actually
went for
vote for
something
Nick's.
very. I
I do.
also went for something insignificant and personal. What I really liked in that Carabao Cup final, I don't know if you remember. I think it was Isak had a shot block. Trippier came storming in and walloped the ball, and it went straight up Robertson's backside and out for a corner.
Yeah.
But then, when those two old seasoned pros, the elder statesmen of both teams, in a horrible, tense cup final, but then they didn't. They embraced. They cuddled each other, and I just thought that was lovely.
Michael's face there was like,
Ian's
what?
gone for a cuddle.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's not what I was
thought it was
thinking, but I like it.
I like it.
it.
I like it.
Individual moment of the
It
season,
is.
yeah. And
It is.
I'm more than happy for that just to be a private one for me, but to go with Nicholas.
If Nick said it, I'd give her
when the
grief,
three of them
but
came up.
Mine won't surprise anybody. Mine's also from a cup final, but it was the first time. It was kind of two put together. It's the first time Howes actually said he's going to enjoy something and not just looking at the next game when he finally won us a trophy. And the moment when he ran towards the crowd with the cup, I've never seen Eddie Howe actually like show emotion. He's always very calm, and he's almost like very next game. And he finally grabbed the cup. I think it was Joe Linton who gave it to him. He finally grabbed the cup and ran towards the fans and lifted it. And I was just like, oh, finally. It's took him 3 years to finally give us something like that. And that was my individual one, but I am a massive Eddie Howe fan. I think what Nick said for me is, again,
Nick
an
wins
amazing
for me.
point.
I get that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think we're all...
Our team unity, and Bruno is
go with Nick,
the
or is
leader.
he going to go with Eddie Howe or something else?
unfortunately, I agree with Nick.
Oh, that hurt him.
You love it.
Well done. So our moment of the season is the delay of the trophy lift so that Jamal Lascelles could be part of it. Well done.
Beautiful.
It's amazing stuff.
Can I just check? Oh, can we all pick on Nicola again now?
Yeah, 100%. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
I think I'm allowed to, no one else.
Even though we are not all the way through the awards yet, we're still going to be half professional and get one advert in. So I'm going to play maybe for the final time Cristiano Ronaldo's Mob, right? And then we'll be straight back to discuss some more awards. We'll also look at our predictions from the start of the season, and we might even have a little bit of a discussion about what we expect next season.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Buy Unique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Lovely stuff. I was just hoping it wouldn't play again. That's happened a couple of times this season, where it's played twice
Just
in a
to
row. And I'm
me.
like, what is
It
happening
bullies
now?
me.
Right, couple left. The next one is probably the only non-positive one. Most disappointing moment of the season. I don't. This one's so hard after the season we've had. There's a couple of things which come to mind. We'll go Nick first because Nick's just smashed the last one out of the park. To be fair, well done, Nick. What's your most disappointing moment of the season then?
Mine's was, I don't know if anyone else has got this one down, but Gordon's red card in the was
Hmm.
it the FA Cup game
Great
against
shout.
Brighton?
FA Cup, yep.
I thought it
Mhm.
was a moment of stupidity and selfishness, and I wouldn't say that's the reason why we exited the FA Cup because we played appallingly. But yeah, I was disappointed, especially because the Carabao Cup final was literally the next week or the week after.
Yeah.
So that was my most disappointing moment.
Yeah, it's a good one. Joe?
I'll be honest, I struggled with this one. You're right, because it's, we've had such a great season. I was trying to not have any negativity at all. So the one what I've put down is, where's it gone? And this is clutching at straws, man. But ending it with a whimper, in the sense of the last two games, I think were just, you know what I mean? Which I feel a bit crap saying because we've still made Champions League, but we went out with such, and we ended up relying on other people. But that's me just clutching at straws, because I'll be honest, I'm not disappointed at all with last season. Nick's is a great shout, because individually,
Yeah.
you know what it is? I don't know if I'm just trying to be ultra positive and I'm just bloody over the moon with last season. I did not want to even sit and think of a disappointing moment, so I'm clutching at straws by picking something that's just happened.
Somebody who has no issues being negative will go straight at Michael.
What are you
Michael saw
trying
my
to
comment.
say, Sam?
I was looking at Michael. He was like, "Oh, Kev's going to be in," and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward. But yeah,
I
Hey,
love it.
when you expect it, it's
Fantastic.
funny. But yeah, I think it's one of those where I was tempted to say The Weekend because not the artist, obviously the game against Everton, but it's one of those where when you need when you need a big performance to have such a dismal display and be so pathetic. It was really disappointing, but I've gone for the 4-2 defeat to Brentford just because on a personal note, that was the moment where I was sitting there going, "How's gone?" Like one of our best managers in a long time is gone because we knew at the start of the season that top 7 was what was expected, the minimum, and we were 6 points ahead of Leicester, sandwiched between Spurs and Man United. If we didn't beat Leicester and Ipswich, he was probably gone. But thankfully, the players decided to turn up, and Howe's saved his job, and then went on to win a trophy just 3 months later. So yeah, that was the disappointing moment, but it ended in ecstasy. So
Nice.
happy days.
Has a happy ending. I'm happy with that.
Does.
Shouldn't be saying
Everyone
happy
loves a
endings
happy
around
ending.
Ian.
It's like your favourite romance novel.
Ian, what was your
Because
disappointing
any
moment?
conversation with me doesn't usually end happily. That's true, Kevin.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Ian.
Ian.
No, well, look, I'm disappointed. I have the same disappointing moment over and over and over when I hear lazy, happy clapper journalists saying how fantastic Newcastle United are at home because we lost 6 times at home. We lost to Fulham. We lost to Bournemouth. We lost to West Ham. We lost to Brighton. We lost to fucking Everton. We're not brilliant at home. I'm sorry,
who
we're
cares?
not. That was
Go on,
terrible.
Ian. Go for it.
That was terrible.
Agreed.
We're all
Good point.
right at home. We're capable of beating anybody at home. We can really turn it on and blow teams away, and those nights are fantastic. But we throw too many dodgy performances in when we're
We
expected
do.
to win.
Agreed.
It's a fair
And
point.
100% right.
the fact that nobody acknowledges that and just says, "Oh, it's Newcastle, they're at home, they're bound to win." Bollocks! You haven't sat through all those miserable losses like I have.
Two swears at 1 point. Well done. It's a good point, Wayne. It's a very good point. Mine is. I found it really a little bit like Joe. I found it really, even though I'm very disappointed with them home losses. I agree with Michael. That was a very disappointing time of a season. I agree with all of you about it, but I'm finding it very hard to say anything disappointing other than mine's a complete personal one. Kevin Keegan, I went to a talk where it was Keegan, Howe, and Pete Graves, and he said he would come back. He would only return after we won a trophy. We won a trophy, and I had a special war flags display ready for him, and Kevin Keegan still didn't return. That's my biggest disappointment.
Yeah, but I
Great
think
shout
that's
on
because he
Kev,
was giving
actually.
Eddie his moment.
I know, but Eddie's done it for Eddie's literally
I think Eddie
won
would
a
have been
trophy.
fine
He's done something
having
which
Keegan,
Keegan wouldn't return unless he won a trophy. Howe's done it. He would have definitely been invited. There was a war
Yeah.
flags display for him. It was
Yeah.
especially for Keegan.
Yeah.
And he didn't show up, and I'm like, oh, come on, King Kev. Like, you've got to rock
Yeah.
up the bat, surely. So it's a complete personal one, and it's very hard to say you're
Good shout,
disappointed
though, Kev.
with such
I
a
was really
club
disappointed at
legend.
the time,
Because
actually,
let's face it, we all love Kevin Keegan. I mean, Christ, I'm named after him. So I love Kevin Keegan and everything he did for the club, but
Imagine if you hate him.
it's just
Yeah.
disappointing that he didn't return that year when we won the trophy. So yeah, that's my most
True.
disappointing one, completely personal. But
Yeah,
how
that's
on
a
earth
fair
do we
point.
pick one from there?
It's a good
Who
shout.
are we going with here? I think the home form's a good shout, personally.
Yes.
Because again, that's kind of hasn't probably been given the rightful criticism it could have
But
been.
that's not one individual moment, though. That's multiple
It's
moments,
still a
unfortunately.
disappointment of the season. Yeah.
Well, it's the
Oh, no.
same moment. It's the same moment over and over and over again when talk sport journalists,
Sometimes
Five
these things
Live
happen.
journalists,
You have disappointing
Match
moments
of the
over and
Day
over again.
journalists, Match
That's
of the Day
fine.
journalists all refer to
With no happy ending.
Newcastle's sterling home form, and they're just wrong. They just don't acknowledge
Sad
what's
times.
really going on.
Life
I'm ignoring
sucks
you,
and
Joe.
then you die.
Wow.
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 Okay.
I wish I never
Morbid.
picked disappointing
Life
moment of the season. Joe, out of the others, who you
God.
picking? Let's vote. Let's get this one out of the way so we can be back to being happy.
I like yours because I was really disappointed at the time, so I think that was a great individual moment.
Keegan
if
not
we're talking about
showing up.
individual moments.
Okay,
Yeah.
Nick.
Who cares? Keegan's yesterday's man.
No,
Who
I,
cares?
Kev,
Wow.
I'm sorry.
25 years ago.
Exactly.
I'm not going to agree with you, Kev. I get what you're saying, but I do think that moment was all about Eddie Howe and the team. So I'm not going to agree with that. I am going to vote for. I have no idea. Make the home form's a good shout. The home form is a good shout.
Michael.
Well, I'm probably not going to go with Keegan because I do think he's a bit of a prat. But I guess I'm gonna have to go home form as the decider.
Home form. So our most disappointing moments of the season are at times our losses at home when we should be winning. Fair play. Right, let's rattle through the next two pretty quickly. I think at least two of us will probably agree on the next one.
Not me.
Michael won't agree
Not
with
with
Nicola.
me.
I'm saying it that way. Best away fans. Best away fans. I think we've actually had some amazing performances from away fans this season. But who are our best away fans? I'm going to go for a very obvious reason, and again, I'm looking back to the past, which isn't going to get a vote, but it's just my personal one. Was the one Bobby Robson from Ipswich fans. I know it happened in the Championship. It's not like the first time it's ever happened, but I just enjoyed that moment, and I think for once, I give my seat to my brother's mate or something. So I was sitting in a different seat at the time, and I was pretty close to the away fans, and it was just a really nice moment where we actually liked each other and clapped each other, which doesn't happen very often in football. So that was my best away fans, Ipswich. Michael?
Utter woke nonsense. Dad, I remember Bromley fans being surprisingly quite good. I'm not going to go for them. But for me, it was Nottingham Forest.
Same.
For fuck's sake.
Michael changed his mind. Go back to Bromley, Michael. Run.
So, Bromley fans, right? No, to be fair, Nottingham Forest fans are absolutely fantastic away from home. I expected it because I've been to Forest games before, and they always have a great fan base. But yeah, I think particularly considering obviously they took the lead early on, and then we dominated for a while, and then they came back into it. Realistically, I think they only came back into it because the fans were so good in getting behind them. Because most teams would have crumbled in that. So I have to say Forest.
Well done, Ian.
Cheers.
Ipswich.
Ipswich as well.
Not only because of the one Bobby Robson chant, which was nice. However, the Ipswich fans kept singing right the way through to the very end. They were already relegated, weren't they? We relegated them on that game. So they were already down. They travelled in numbers. They sang from start to finish. They were comprehensively outplayed in the game as well. So those guys deserve some sort of endurance award at the very least. So I'll give them best
two for Forest, 2 for Ipswich, 2 for Forest. Joe. Have you got someone completely different where we need to decide together, or are you going to make a deciding vote?
I haven't. I have got Ipswich, but I need to do an honourable mention of two different teams. One of which makes me feel a bit sick to the stomach, but I've got to be honest. So Ipswich, for everything Ian's just said, and for what you said in terms of how they were with Bobby Robson, but again, they did not stop singing. I was up near them. It was great banter. They were just nice fans. That's so rare at football now. The other one that makes me feel sick to my stomach to say sorry, but also did not stop the entire match is Man U. However, we're fantastic, and in particular, this dad and daughter team for less than 20 minutes did not stop. And as we were trying to sing back, she's like that with her ear, like over to us, and I was just killing myself laughing. I was like, "Fair play, kid, man! Like we're winning." They know they're not thinking, but no. Anyway, just again, great banter, but particularly from the kid. But my other little honourable mention was Wimbledon fans who I met in the Strawberry, who were just the most pleasant to speak to on a one-to-one basis, I would say.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my little show.
Lots of good away fans. But Ipswich are taking it, thanks to Joe, Ian and me going for them. So Ipswich, you are the best away fans since James Park this year. Well done.
Me and Nicola agreed for nothing.
Yep,
Hey,
you agreed.
Such a waste, Michael.
Business then.
Take that.
Michael never does it. So the next award we're going to talk about is the most surprising moment of the season. So for this one, it's pretty much just what surprised you the most, and it can be anything, obviously Newcastle related. It can be anything personal, anything you saw at St James's, away from St James's, player related, manager related. Eddie Howe getting an illness was very surprising. I don't think that's happened it has happened a couple of times in my lifetime, but it's very rare. So we'll go to Nick first, because Nick finds us funny, so that's all I need. What's your most surprising moment of the season, Nick?
I struggled on this question, not going to lie, so I did a personal one. My most surprising moment was my total 180 opinion of Martin Dubravka.
Oh, okay.
Because didn't think much of him at the start of the season, and then he seemed to hit prime, and I was like, yeah, we need to keep him. Yeah, that's my most surprising moment.
Martin Dubravka is your most surprising moment of the season. So you actually think he's quite good? It just surprised you? Fair play. Fair play.
Without saying the obvious of what happened, obviously, at the final. That was like one that was personal.
That wasn't surprising for some of us. We've got predictions coming up, and we'll see who was right about that one, but we'll see. Michael, what was your most surprising moment of the season?
My most surprising moment of the season was about a minute ago when Nick's skin colour just completely changed and we all changed clothing.
That's one. That's the winner. Nick's winner.
So, just for anyone who's listening on the spot, sorry.
It's definitely an advert for don't waste your money down at the spray tanning salon, isn't it? This is what happens 1 week later.
Nick spray tan.
It has been a week and a half between the podcast, by the way.
Next week she'll be appearing as a mime.
So for anyone listening on Spotify who has no idea what I've just mentioned, we did have some technical issues when we first recorded last week. We're back this week just because we're that dedicated and we wanted to get something out. But yeah, most surprising moments. Back to the point at hand. I would say the Cup semi-final against Arsenal. We were drawn at the Emirates first, and I there was no way on earth I thought we were going to the Emirates and getting a win. A draw I was hoping for, maybe a 0-0. And we were the better team. We'd done them over, and it was the thing that going into the final made everyone think, we could do this, you know. So that's it for me.
Nice one. Ian?
Well, my biggest surprise was that when our whole fabulous left-hand side disappeared through suspension and injury, that Harvey Barnes and Tino Livramento, who looked a little bit thrown together, were absolutely fantastic in those last 10 days.
Sorry, Ian.
10 games.
Can we have some professionalism on this podcast, please?
No.
Why?
Sorry.
Everyone's laughing while you're trying to talk.
Well, don't listen. Does anybody listen to what the girls are doing or saying? No. Yeah, so that was my biggest surprise, was that going from the devastation of thinking we're going to have to get through this end of the season, try and qualify for Champions League, and Lewis Hall isn't available anymore, to how fantastic Tino Livramento was playing on his wrong side. I say he's even better on the left than he is playing on the right.
I agree with that.
100%.
Definitely
Fantastic.
surprised me as well how good he was on my left. I mean, you three have all made very good ones. I'm going to chuck two silly ones in really because I think I've made this award and I've I've done it the worst out of everybody, which is mental. One of my more
Unsurprising,
surprising
really.
ones.
Not surprising, yeah, I was going to say.
Very true, very true. One of my most surprising moments was the last game of the season. Pickford was hold on, I know I'm going to get attacked, right? Pickford for about 5 seconds was quite likable when the full time whistle went. I don't know if anybody noticed this. He went and shook hands with a couple of fans in the front row. I don't know if anybody noticed that. At the
Not just his mates. Do you just happen to have a couple of Geordie
might
mates?
have been, but still to do that at St James's Park when you've been given abuse all game, I was quite surprised. I was very surprised to see Jordan Pickford shaking hands with Newcastle fans. So that one definitely got us. And my second surprising moment of the season was I've developed a natural hate. I don't know if
Towards me
before, for Ben Brereton and Diaz.
You never have, have you, Kev?
I never expected. I don't know if I've spoke about that before. I don't know if I've ever mentioned them before. But I somehow got a natural hatred for this bloke who I'd never heard of before this season. And now every time I see him either playing for Sheffield United or just anywhere on the internet, I can't stand him. He makes my blood boil. So that was surprising for me as well. So mine are both pretty poor. So I'm just going to hand over very swiftly to Joe.
That's fine because I didn't have one prior to restarting about 10 minutes ago. However, no, it's fine. I've just made one up in my head, but it's actually a really good one. My biggest surprise was for 90 minutes of the season supporting Man U, because that will never happen again in my life.
True. Yeah.
So a very, very surprising turn up for the books, for not just personally, for thousands of Geordies. We switched and we turned on our morals and we supported, and they came through for us, was actually the most surprising part. And to top it off, I'm on a roll now, and ex-Mackham contributed. So there's 3 off the bat. There we go. That's my 3.
Fair. I mean, I've never hated Man U as much as you have before on the pod. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I just don't hate them. So I think the one I'm going to vote for of them is it's between Michael's or Ian's. I think the left side one's pretty good though, because I never expected Tino and Barnes to be good enough.
Sorry, Michael. I'm not in the shortlist.
Sorry, Michael, but I'm going with Ian.
Not win, Nick.
I think it was a big surprise when we lost Hall. I remember at one point in the season, I was thinking if we lose Hall, we're in big trouble because he was in such good form and he was our only kind of recognised left back, other than Byrne, who'd now completely transitioned into centre half. So I'm going to go Ian's for me. I don't know how you guys feel about which one we're going to go for.
I will be honest, even though I sat and laughed. He's talking. Go for Ian.
No, it's all right. You finished, Jerome.
Well, my
personal one was... Shut up, you, Michael.
We shouldn't be allowed to do things like this together, should we?
I'm violent over here.
Ian, it was a good thing, really, because I was going to say I actually do vote for you, even though I did sit and laugh all the way through everything you did. So it was no disrespect to you. I just got the giggles and I couldn't stop. But I do actually agree that your point was made so well that I vote for you as well.
Thank you. Because can you remember that post-Brighton FA Cup knockout review of the game when it had broken that Hall was out for the rest of the season? Gordon had been red carded and was suspended for the final. I mean, we literally had absolutely no hope of winning that Carabao Cup with those 2 players out.
Yeah.
Who knew?
How wrong were we?
Right. I think our left side actually being stronger depth-wise than we thought at the start of the season is our most surprising moment. Right. The next award is, I think, I haven't got this one written down, so someone help. Best game attended, is that right? Michael, keep us right.
Favourite game attended, yeah.
Favourite game attended, best game attended. So our favourite game which we attended live. Am I allowed to use the cup final as a cop out or not?
Nah. So it has to be favourite home game attended.
Okay, well, my favourite home game attended, again, it's a bit of a cop out, but and it's weird, it's for a moment which didn't even count, the second leg of the semi-final home to Arsenal. When Isak scored in like the first 2 minutes or whatever it was, and it was disallowed. I haven't heard a noise like that since PSG, and it was unbelievable. Like, it was just... And it was the one rare time I forgot about VAR and I went nuts. And then I saw VAR and I thought, oh, why did I allow myself to forget about this horrendous invention? But just the atmosphere, the occasion, I got to take my brother to that game, and my other brother who never normally goes. So for me, it was just amazing to be there and see that kind of atmosphere and that occasion. And obviously we're on the way to Wembley and we know what happened next. So that's my favourite home game of the season this year. But I'm very lucky that I've been able to go to pretty much everyone. Ian, what's your favourite home game of the season?
Well, it could have been the first half an hour against Chelsea because I was sitting next to Joanne for that one as well.
Mm.
But then it turned
Always a
into
pleasure.
a bloody nightmare last hour because we were very dodgy. It could have been. Was it the Fulham game that I was sitting next to you, Nicola?
Leicester,
was
that's
fun,
my
wasn't
favourite
it?
one.
But it's not. My favourite home game attended was
But
the
it's
Crystal
not.
Palace match
I
because
was sat next to you,
It
Nicola.
could have been, but it's not.
because it was
Good for you then.
it was
Brilliant.
Crystal Palace game was a Wednesday night under the lights. Looked like it could have been the next banana skin on our unlikely cruise through to the Champions League, and it was a bit nerve wracking because Palace were in such good form. And
They
then
were.
why should we have worried? Murphy's fantastic goal. They were all good goals. And we were 4 up at half time. Fabulous fun.
And it's a Palace team which went on to win the FA Cup, so it actually turned out to be a very impressive win.
Very good win.
When you look back on the season, Nicola, we know what yours is because you've just said it was yours, but Ian just outright shut you down and said he didn't enjoy it as much as you. So let's go through yours, Nick.
Not surprising. Mine was the Leicester game in December, and more so not because I was sat next to Ian. Just joking.
Now you see it.
Obviously.
You didn't say that before.
No, it wasn't. Because a couple of things. So it was straight after we hit a really bad spell for about 5-6 games where everyone was calling for Eddie's head. And then it was that game which started off, I think, a 9-10 game unbeaten run. The atmosphere was good. It was not on before Christmas. I think it was my first trip up where I'd sort of met up with Joe and Ian. Obviously sat next to Ian at the game. Good vibes all around.
Lovely stuff. Joe?
Mine, I almost went with you, Kev, I'll be honest, of the Arsenal second leg for everything you said about the atmosphere, I'll be honest, but I kind of put a bit more of a twist on it. It's more of a personal reason. So I went the Man U 4-1 just because that kicked off what was just an unreal week, which was my birthday week, which I decided was all those games were my birthday games. But it's all right because we won 4-1 and then we won 5-0 v Palace. So yeah, I'm going for the Man U 4-1 just because I had just an epic day all around. The match obviously really tipped it off. But yeah, as I say, it then continued on to 5-0 for Palace. So that week as a whole was just my favourite week of the entire season.
Fair.
Probably because Joanne got tickets for that game and I didn't, and Nicola didn't.
Apologies,
Apologies,
Ian, that I couldn't magic any more tickets for you. I'll try harder next season, eh?
Please.
All right.
Sounds like she's not going to try it all next season.
He's pushing his luck.
What's your favourite home game of the season just gone?
Yeah, for me, a lot of mine were earlier in the season. I didn't get too many in 2025. But I do have to say that the demolition of Aston Villa on Boxing Day, absolutely fantastic for me. Waking up ropey as you get from Christmas. Back on it about midday. The lads are out. The lasses are out. Few swift ones in the Hancock, into the barracks for some scran. Watch us batter Villa around the park for 90 minutes. And I hate Villa, so it made it even better for me. Great atmosphere, great day. And it's what Boxing Day is all about, really.
No,
football.
I'm voting for that just because the time of the year, and Michael said I hate Villa and I hate Villa too. So
there we go.
I'm still sticking with mine, but if I had to vote for somebody else's, I'd go with Michael.
No, it's not.
It is all personal, isn't it?
It is. It's all personal.
That game was another one where you start thinking, "Oh, this might be hard. It's Villa." Oh, and then in under 2 minutes, Anthony Gordon's gone put it right in the top corner.
And Michael did exactly that on the day.
Done that.
I changed my mind. I'm going straight back to Arsenal semi-final at home.
Fantastic,
brilliant. I don't know how we pick one. I think we just have to vote for somebody else's other than your own and see which one gets the most votes. So I voted for Michael's. Michael, who are you voting for?
I'd go for the semi-final against Arsenal.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, mate. We're bros. Ian, who are you voting for?
Well, I have got to vote for Michael because otherwise I can't vote for the Man U game. I wasn't there. And although
Ian, you're pushing your luck, mate. I'll not get you any more tickets.
It was
delightful. 2 votes for Michael.
Keep going, Ian.
Sitting next to Nicola, watching them beat Leicester. It was just Leicester, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was just Leicester.
Wow.
And I thought he was going to say it was.
I get it, but it was just Leicester.
No, it was just Leicester.
And it was just
Leicester.
It's fab having so much.
Nick, it's just Leicester. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, speaking of Nick,
you don't have to vote for one you went to. You just vote for one that
let's go to Nick. So it's 2 votes for Villa at home on Boxing Day and 1 vote for
let's vote for each other's girl.
Nick, who are you going for?
Feeling totally annihilated, guys.
Just vote for each other's. Let's go.
Bear in mind,
Oh.
just for everyone on the pod, I do live 3.5 hours away from Newcastle, so getting up north is quite difficult every weekend
And
at home games.
I do think she's attended more games than me, so that is credit.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. That's the nicest thing you've said to me all season.
Don't get
Done
used
now.
to it.
He's one and done.
Yeah, one and done. Yeah. What am I doing? Voting for who?
Voting for
Vote-
Manu.
Vote for
I'll
your
vote for
other
you.
favourite game of the season out of what somebody said.
But it was the Arsenal game.
Oh, yeah. It makes it 2-2. It gives Joe the deciding vote. Joe,
Sorry, Joe.
Arsenal semi-final,
Nick,
second leg
I love
at
you.
home over
I was
Aston
going to
Villa
give you a
at home.
vote. I love you, girl, but I was going to give you a vote there.
It's just
Now
Leicester.
I've got to vote for.
It's just
It's just
Leicester.
Leicester. Just Leicester,
They got-
apparently. So
Hey, don't worry, it's just Leicester.
even though
Girls
Ian
take, as
has
you can tell,
obviously
everyone
pushed
who's
his
at this pod,
luck,
the girls on this pod take things really well. Come on, Joe, make a decision.
well, it's all right because even though I'm not spiteful like Ian, I'm going to pick Ian's Crystal Palace
We haven't
because
got
it was
a winner.
again. It was in my
So
birthday
that
week. It
doesn't
was.
help
It doesn't
anything.
help anything. It's just
No, it
sitting on the
doesn't.
fence again.
It's
Come
not.
on.
It's because it was my other favourite game. 5-0. It was. I pick Ian's. Genuinely, it was my birthday week. I said
I
No,
surrender
no,
mine.
There we
I'm
go.
not there.
Michael
There we
surrendered.
go.
Right. So the game of the season is the second leg semi-final at home to Arsenal. Well, a 2-0 win, 4-0 aggregate. Right. I think that's the end of the awards.
Oh, thank God, Kev stops talking for a bit.
Oh,
No worst
wow.
haircut.
we're not going
No
for
worst
best
haircut.
No,
Not
no,
worst
no.
haircut.
I think we all agree it's Anthony Gordon. Or are you talking about on the pod?
Absolutely.
Yeah, his Goldilocks
What
thing at
about-
the end of the season was horrific.
Oh, yeah. And when he
Yeah,
half
his
cut it,
mane. He looked like a
when he
lion,
half cut it, it's
skinny
even
lion.
worse. He's like Erling Haaland with his hair down, is what he's like.
Oh, like a mullet, half
Welcome
mullet,
back
half
to the
Yeah,
Tony
mane.
and Guy,
half up and
Tony
down.
and Guy hairstyle podcast.
No,
Anyway,
Best
I've gone
dive.
wrong.
Best dive.
best
Gotta be
dive.
Joe Willock.
Gordon wins
Anything
that
that
every
Gordon
week.
did. I know
Gordon
I was
every
going to
week,
say
isn't
anything
it?
that Gordon did.
Look,
Gordon
you're
every
right
week.
about Willock. Willock did have a class one, a disgusting one. So you
Yeah,
might be
it was
right there,
obvious.
actually. Yeah.
We've
And he got
ascended
the
into
penalty
chaos.
for it,
So
didn't
what
he?
I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to the most professional person on the podcast, which is Michael,
Yeah.
because Michael's
The
done a bit
reason
of-
for the chaos.
Michael's revisited our predictions from the start of the season. I mean, it was somebody else's job, but they couldn't really be bothered to do it, so Michael had to step in and do it. I'm not going to
Literally
give
not
it.
my
react.
words.
Don't
That was
react.
I'm not gonna
literally
give
not my
away-
words.
I'm not going to give away who
It's
it
a
was.
quote.
I'm not naming anybody. Actually, it could have been me. Who knows? Anyway, Michael,
reckon it was
let's
Ian.
go through some of our predictions from the start of the season, and if anybody
might
was
be.
right about anything.
Yeah, to be fair, there was one person who was almost spot on, but I don't want to say who that is. So I'll start with Ian.
Now I know who it is. Yeah, that's a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah. Ian, where do you think you said we'd finish in the league?
I think I had us third, did I?
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. You said we'd be chasing down third, and we get it. And to be honest, you were nearly there. We nearly got second, so not far off
Was-
at all. And then
I was still in with a shout on the final day, wasn't I? Really?
100%. You were the only one that said third for the league. Joe and Kev,
I've had
you both
fourth,
said the
didn't I?
same position. Yep, fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Nick and myself both said fifth.
Oh, well
So-
done.
I thought I was, to be honest, I thought it said seventh. So when I looked back and heard fifth, I was like, oh,
Proud of
maybe
yourself,
I do
Michael.
actually have. Yeah, I do know what I'm talking about, you know?
Either way, all that means all five of us had us qualifying for the Champions League at the very
Because
start
we're
of the
positive
season.
people.
Great show.
That's just the kind of people we are.
Because
Happy,
I'm fed
clappy,
up of
smiley
hearing people
people.
saying, I'm fed up of people saying, if they'd said to you at the start of the season, you can have a Carabao Cup and you could qualify for the Champions League, you'd have bitten the hand off, wouldn't you? Well, I was expecting at least one cup and
We
to qualify
predicted
for the
that, right?
Champions League. That's why I picked third. I thought we were going to get second. So stop it, people. We know our team and we know how good they are in relation to the rest of those.
Go on, Ian.
Cartel
You
six.
tell them. Next.
Carry on, Michael.
I just wanted
Oh,
to leave
Michael.
the silence after that.
No,
to be honest.
don't. No, because then Kessler cuts it out, man.
Actually, yeah. Sorry.
Backfires
Yes.
on-
So, in cup competitions, weirdly enough, we all said that we would get to a final. Nick and Ian both said that we would win the final. I said that we'd lose, and Kevin, Joe, you didn't say at all. Yeah, gutless cowards.
Did
Not
we
saying
not?
what. No, you just
Kev,
went, oh, we'll
I'm
make a
genuinely
final.
shocked. Me and you. I'm shocked, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I was
Disgusting.
kind of calling for it the entire season. I think when I was doing the predictions, I didn't want to feel like I was jinxing it. But when I remember saying after we beat like Forest at home in the second round, but we were going to win it. So
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I'll
I
take
had my
not
hotel
getting
booked
one.
from like
I'll take
November.
not getting one right.
Well, I'm not
but-
going back and listening to every podcast.
Oh,
I was
let
gonna
you-
say,
I haven't got every hour in the world. We've made so many, you know.
At least
And you
you
can
did
go
it.
back and
Very
listen to
true.
them
It's very
anytime.
true.
At least you did it. At least you went back and looked at the predictions. Well
Yeah.
done, mate.
Oh, thank you
Wow.
very
Did
much.
Nicola and I pick which cup we were going to win?
So
was
maybe
this
because of
backup?
the order I've got it in, I can't remember off the top of my head. Nicola definitely said we'd win the League Cup. Ian, because I've got semi-final and then final written down, I believe you might have said semi-final of the League Cup and then final and win it of the FA Cup.
Can't remember,
But I
but-
can't guarantee
Hey,
that.
cup's a cup, man.
Yeah, and then for the other,
Got to get it right.
all
though.
of us said, yeah, all
Go on, girl.
all of us said, me, Joe, and Nick said we would make the quarter final of the FA Cup, and we didn't. It was the Brighton game just beforehand. So if we'd got through that, we would have made the quarter final. And then Kev, Ian, both said we'd make the semi final of the other cup. So Nicola was just 30 minutes against Brighton away from pretty much getting everything
Bang
right.
on, man.
She was this far off a Fab Shah disallowed bloody VAR goal in
Yeah, exactly.
the last minute from being spot on. Well done, Nicola.
Look how
What are the
raging
lottery
Kev is.
numbers for
Disgraceful.
Saturday?
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Are you though? Are you?
Yeah.
That's his happy face.
I don't know. He's
I feel sorry for
him.
I feel sorry for Jen. That's his happy face.
Right,
I'm great.
moving
You've been a great
swiftly on to the top goal scorer. So can anyone tell me, out of the five of us, because I haven't added Thomas because he had to leave so quickly, but out of the five of us, how many picked Alexander Isak to be the top goal scorer this season?
5.
Surely all of us.
All of us?
Surely.
I
all
might
of
not.
us
I might not
Did
have
I
went
not?
for him just because
By
it
his
was too
face, I'm
obvious.
guessing no.
It was all of us.
Too obvious.
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Right, perfect.
Michael.
We all predicted him to get over 20 goals. Joe, you said 25. The rest of us said 20. But it was a ballpark figure, and to be honest, he should have got 25. What were you playing at the last few months of the season,
He
Alex?
did miss a lot.
Come
I
on.
agree,
A
Michael.
lot
I
of
agree.
cities.
On one leg.
Proper letdown, wasn't he? World class my
100%.
ass.
Exactly.
150 million Joker.
God, what a
Now-
loser.
So, for top assister, you four were basically split 2 each. Can you
think I
both?
said
Can you
Bruno.
tell me who picked Bruno?
Me,
Must
I
be
think.
me. Did I go
That's
Bruno?
interesting. Joe's shaking her head, and Kev thinks
picked
he said
Bruno, didn't I?
Bruno. You picked Bruno. Kev picked Anthony
Yeah.
Gordon. Nick is
yeah,
correct
'cause
with
tendon.
Bruno.
Yeah.
And Ian, you also said Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
Michael, and I quote, if we don't sign a right winger, it'll be Jacob Murphy, but if we do, it's Bruno Guimaraes.
Oh,
So-
Michael.
Well
That's
done, Michael.
I
the
love
shout.
your answer the most.
Shout of the season.
And you know
Yes.
why? Because I covered both bases of Murphy might have a good season, but I might also sound like an idiot. So, perfect. Always cover both bases.
Love
But
it.
to be fair, the Bruno shout was fantastic as well, and Gordon should have had a much better season. So we move on to player of the season.
Trippier.
And all 5 of... Yeah, everyone remembers that bit, Kev.
I can't remember who I said.
After
remember
his
that.
performance in the final, I'd give
I
him.
think I'm a.
So we'll start with you, Ian. Who did you think you said for player of
Joe
the
Will-
season?
Joe Willock.
No,
Did I not?
no.
Sandro,
That was-
I think, because I was
That
going
was
to
a
go
different one.
I was going to go Sandro, but Ian already took him.
Kev's
Ian-
exactly right.
Ian said Sandro
Is
because I
he?
wanted to go Tonali. Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
Well, I got Joe Willock for something, and it was
Yeah,
very
you did.
disappointing.
You did.
Not
and
this
I'm
one,
going.
though.
That'll be the
You're
next
jumping the
one.
I'll
gun.
get onto it later on. Oh yeah, Sandro Tonali. He was my pick, obviously.
Nah.
Obviously.
It's, to be honest, a fantastic pick. Nick, who do you think you said?
Oh, I feel like I said either Lewis Hall or... No, I definitely said Lewis Hall for something. Don't think it was this, though. Maybe Bruno? Fuck me.
It was not Bruno. It was the other Brazilian, Joe Linton.
Baller.
Another one who's had a
Be fair.
fantastic season.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Joe, what did you think you said?
I've got no idea. I'm devastated that I didn't pick Murphy because that's obviously who I would have picked had I had half a brain at the start of the season. But no, I can't remember. I can't remember who I picked. Go on, hit me with it.
You picked the other winger, Anthony Gordon.
Oh, did I? I'm disappointed in myself, quite frankly, on that
it's
one.
probably I was going to say the underwhelming one, but Kev picked Trippier, so
Yeah, you win, Kev.
Our performance in the final, I'm sticking with him. I didn't even want to pick him. I wanted to pick Tonali, but Ian pinched him. So
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And then myself, I picked Bruno Guimaraes, who I didn't have a great start of the season, but finished strong. So I guess we don't really have a definitive player of the season. So we need to decide.
Dan Burn won it, didn't he? I think
But Dan Burn,
did he?
I would pick Dan Burn.
Okay.
We all voted Dan Burn at the start of this episode.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes,
we did.
So I guess with that, we're all wrong. None of us know what we're talking about.
We suck.
And if you want Newcastle news, you should probably listen to someone else.
Ooh.
Maybe not.
Oh.
Well, actually,
you might be too far now.
You might be thinking that when you hear people's player to watch of the season.
This is going to be awful.
Nick,
I'm horrific, isn't it?
Lloyd Kelly.
You did.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
You say Lloyd
She's
Kelly.
great with centre half. Nicola's great with centre half. Kevin Bramble is the best ever black centre half.
Like I said, because I felt really bad for him.
No.
Kev, shut up. I feel like I said because I feel. I knew I said him for something. I feel like I said because I felt sorry for him and because he's on the bench constantly, blah blah. I feel like Eddie would work his magic, and he did. He escorted him.
Got some good money for him. Yeah, I was going to say he worked his magic.
He's up there. Got a profit on him.
Getting 20 million for Lloyd Kelly probably was the moment of the season. Actually,
to be fair, surprising moment. Yeah, that's most surprising moment of the season.
We've all forgot.
So just ignore me.
Yeah. That's fine. It's why we've been giving you grief. That's all. I've remembered it. That's all. Ian, you said Joe Willock, which admittedly at the start of the season it was a great shout. Unfortunately, hasn't had a very good season.
He's
Joe,
had a chance to though. He's
had plenty of chances. Joe, Can you remember who you said?
Tino.
Absolutely spot on.
Oh, was that? Did it?
Absolutely spot on.
Cool.
And to be honest, it's probably the best shout out of the five.
I finally got one.
Kev say?
Kev?
Come on, Kev. What did you say?
Can you remember who you said?
I'm so wishing I said Lewis Hall, but I genuinely can't remember.
You said the man who's got more minutes than anyone this season, Trevan Sanusi.
Ah, yeah. Well, I thought I'd go rogue. Somebody young who might come in and it'll either sound brilliant or hopeless, and I sound hopeless.
Yeah, I should have covered both bases like I did with Murphy.
He got off the bench. he got off the bench against who did he actually play against?
I couldn't remember.
Wimbledon,
Came off the bench on the left wing. He did get an appearance. I bet at the start of the season. Nobody even heard of him, and then he got an appearance. So I'm taking a kind of mini win because it was such a bad show.
Well, he did. Ian had a real rant about the Zanussi washing machines, didn't he? About
yeah, he did.
Love that. Michael, who was yours?
So mine was Lewis Hall. Although I will say Lewis Hall, bit of a cop out because I think we all knew he was going to be fantastic. I kind of just took the easy one on everything but Murphy. And then, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier, it just sounds like I've copied Nick for the predictions at the start. So that's how I get away with everything.
Other way around, maybe.
She was before me, unfortunately.
Makes a change.
But I did put them in the chat, so maybe that was it. And then, I think that in fact that is everything for the predictions. So back to you.
Well done, everyone. Well done. I mean, some of us know what we're talking about. I clearly have no idea.
Yeah, you don't.
So I'm just going to carry on hosting and hope that it all goes away.
You're a good host. Maybe that's just your job.
Maybe I'm just a host. Maybe that's it.
Got no idea do what you can do and then leave it, yeah.
Right, speaking of hosting, we've got 2 things left to do. What's the thoughts on next season, man? We need this is going to be very brief, by the way, because there's lots of transfer dealings to happen. There's probably lots of outgoings to happen. I'm not expecting any sort of detail in terms of where we're going to finish. We're not going to make our predictions yet. I guess what I'm after is just, are we expecting what happened last time when we qualified for the Champions League, where we got a lot of injuries and we kind of did really well to finish 7th, and the expectations maybe need to be calmed a little bit? Or is this the time, the second time in 3 years, where we start thinking, right, Now we're going to regularly qualify for a Champions League and potentially even push for the league, because some people have been saying that. I think it might be a step too far. I think it all depends on the summer, but let's just go through our kind of very, very brief thoughts on next season. We'll keep it very brief. We are gentlemen as always, so we'll go Joe first. What's your kind of thoughts on next season?
I am more for the whole pushing on thing and really pushing to make it a more of a consistent in the likes of the Champions League for sure.
Do you think that's going to happen? No, that's what we want. But do you think that is
right? Well, yeah. Because I just believe we are going to have a lot better summer than we've had. Well, we have to have. Let's get real. And as such, if we've got that depth, it's going to allow us to kind of push on and have that opportunity whilst still being able to highly participate, let's say, in like the League Cup and stuff. But yeah, so I do expect another Champions League finishing spot. I'm not going to go through all my predictions, but yeah, I do expect a decent league finish, basically. Yeah,
that's what I want. Lovely, nice and brief. Well done, Joe. Nick, do you agree with that, or do you think we need to be a little bit realistic and think there could be a drop off?
No, I think it is fine to say that I expect, or we expect, a Champions League spot again this time next year, whilst also pushing well in the league. Obviously, as you said, a couple of years ago, we did well to finish 7th with our injury list, and then with a pretty poor summer that summer. So I don't think there's really any. Obviously, there is some excuses, but there's not really any excuse this year, to be fair. So hopefully, a big summer, and then we can.
We're looking to push on.
Got to push on.
We're all looking to push on.
We've got to push on.
Michael, same.
No.
Good.
Brilliant. No more.
I know I said brief, but elaborate slightly.
All right, if you insist. No, I think it's going to be one of those where, unfortunately, there's more games in the Champions League this year. I think genuinely we should be looking to qualify. I'll not obviously give what I think, but I think more games will very likely get a few injuries. I think Europa League is where I want us to be. I want us to qualify at least for Europe next season. And you've got to bring in some players. If we bring in some players, maybe we push for the Champions League, but you're going to need 5 minimum, I would say, to do that.
I probably agree with Michael, but I think it's a little bit less than 5. I think it might be 3 to carry on pushing on. 3 top first teamers.
Okay,
I'm with Michael over that. Go on, Ian.
Right. I think it's fair to say, even with all of those injuries, and then with Tonali finally finishing his ban and coming in this season, us winning a cup, finishing in 5th, that our trajectory continues to be on the rise. That is after 3 transfer windows where no money has been spent. And if you believe the hype, and we've got £250 million to spend this summer, and we bring in those 3-4 first-team players, plus we have more than Lewis Miley to come out of the youth team in case there are a few injuries, and we do. I think that we ought to be aiming to better this season. Definitely getting into the knockout stages of the Champions League, definitely qualifying for the Champions League, and if we can't win the League Cup, let's win the FA Cup instead.
Wow. I mean, that's a good point, actually, about can we then go to the next cup and win an FA Cup? Imagine winning 2 trophies in 2 seasons. I mean, we haven't been that team for a very long time, probably since the 50s, and we got 3 FA Cups in the first 5 years of the 50s, but long time ago. Lovely. I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of us are saying minimum is going to be 6th. I think nothing lower than 6th now going forward. But yeah, hopefully if a good summer comes up and we can spend, I think we've got every chance of kind of solidifying ourselves as a Champions League club. But none of us are going for the title just yet, which is nice to know. It means next season when we're doing this, we're not going to have meltdowns when we make our inevitable bad start to a season, because Newcastle United always do.
I think you've got to keep your powder dry till you see who the players are that come in.
Yeah. To be fair, we've got 2 derbies next season as well. I know we don't like to mention that, but I mean, 2 more games of importance, and Eddie Howe seems to do so well, and this group of players seems to do so well when the game's really important. So I think that actually helps us in a way without being disrespectful to Sunderland or without taking out their account.
Be disrespectful to them.
Kev, you've got to be
always
disrespectful.
be disrespectful.
That's what's going to really help. That's what's going to really help us. We're going to play Sunderland.
Stop being nice.
Yeah, can't stand them. The hopeless, absolutely horrendous.
Thank you. Go for it, Kev. Come on, better.
Awful. Right. Speaking of being nice, we're going to do one more thing before I've got a kind of end of season review. kind of quiz if I can find it, but I hope I can find it because, like Michael said, we had technical difficulties, so I can't find it. I'll apologise and just get Michael to post it on socials at some point. Thanks, Michael. We're going to sum up the season. We're going to sum up the season in 10 seconds. So you're going to have 10 seconds on the clock. You can all see the same clock as me at the top. So whenever you start, you've got 10 seconds from it. I'm not going to count you down or anything like that.
You're all stay at the clock,
right? And you're gonna sum up Newcastle United season in 10 seconds. Now we've just went ladies first, so we'll go boys first this time. I think we'll go Michael because out of anybody, he might be the most prepared, but all of us are kind of making this up on the spot.
I'm going to say nothing.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Well, you loved it.
Right, are you ready?
Yeah, sure, going for it.
Right, ready?
Nice. Yeah.
Go.
Nice. Won a cup, qualified for the Champions League, and pissed everybody off in the process. Great success.
Oh, he even had.
Oh, wait, Michael, how did you do that?
Well, he's actually got
That's
like
brilliant.
fireworks on his screen. You know what?
How did he do that?
That one's going on socials.
I have
Brilliant.
no
How did you
idea how
do
that
that?
happens.
He does it
I
all
think
the time. He's magic. He's a magician.
How did that happen?
And again. And again. What a magician.
Zencaster is so good,
You've
it
gotta-
just listens to this guy.
You've got to qualify as a sports journalist to be able to do that. You need qualifications.
Apparently.
There's health and safety and all sorts of things to pass before they let you do that.
Someone else do
Don't
it.
worry.
Does it work? Put
Doesn't
your thumbs
work
up.
You got a
Friday.
Mac-
Anyway,
you got a
we're wasting
MacBook.
horrendous time and we look a little bit special on YouTube.
Yes,
so,
that
Well,
might be
come
it.
on. We always look special.
Ian, 10 seconds. Can you sum
10
up the season in
seconds.
10 seconds? Ready? 3,
You should be used to
2,
this. Come on.
1,
Whoa!
go.
What the hell is this? What? Go on. Yeah, go on. Yeah, wow. Fucking hell, what was that?
It's like me at the races.
Well
Ian,
class.
what was going on?
Class.
Ian
That
wins. That was his
was
best 10 seconds.
Fantastic.
absolutely brilliant. Well done. I'll,
Ian.
That's what it was.
I'll give it a go.
That's what it
I'll
was.
give it a
Look
go,
at it
but
back.
I have no idea what this is going to be like. Somebody,
Jesus Christ.
Michael, you're going to count me in. I'm just going to try and stick to 10 seconds if possible.
3, 2, 1, go.
We started like a rocket, crashed like a Mike Ashley airline. Champions League, again, unbelievable. Won an actual cup in my lifetime. World class.
Was that 10 seconds?
No idea. Just over, maybe.
Just over.
Right, Joe,
Just
first
over.
of the ladies. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Better than expected. Best season of my life. Better than the entertainers. Stick it up your backside, all those Eddie haters. We're meant.
I like that bit in a minute. I like the stick it up your backside, all the Eddie haters. That's my favourite again now. Okay. That's our season in 10 seconds. It will be very interesting to see how
Michael, man.
again. Like that, he loves that. I've
the only
kind
one he
of
does.
found what I
looks
prepared
dangerous.
for the quiz. So we're going to go through a little quiz now. It's all about the season just gone, right? So there's no horrible, sneaky questions in there. It's all about the season, right? I'm going to start off with the easiest question I think I've got, right? What was Newcastle United's biggest win of the season just gone?
5-0.
5-0.
5-0 Palace!
Ian already had his 5 up.
I know, he's like that.
We're going to give a point to Ian because he was first
Get
time.
in.
Maybe ask that
I was
question.
first time as well. There you
Yeah.
go.
Don't know what you mean. That was the first time for everyone listening. No more technical difficulties.
Quickly back through this.
Right, let's go quick. Next question.
Dear
How many
me.
goals did Harvey Barnes score in the Premier League this season? Just Premier
Four?
League goals. 6
7.
for Joe, 4 for
Oh, no.
Nick, 7 for Ian,
8.
8. Closest will win, and the correct answer is 9. Well done,
Oh.
Michael.
I was saying
Point.
And
Nice.
Michael.
9
Okay.
Premier League goals, I think, is quite impressive.
It's a lot for him.
It
It's
is.
very good, yeah.
Impressive.
He's done well.
Very good.
A similar type of question, but at the other end of the pitch. How many clean sheets did Nick Pope keep in the Premier League?
8.
Ooh, just Nick
7.
Pope.
I'm going for 11.
11.
But I think that's a bit too
6.
high, I think.
6. You know what? Joe was absolutely bang on, but I wanted to see if anybody else would get it right. 8. Well done, Joe. 8
Well done,
clean
Joe. Glad.
sheets for Newcastle United this season. Well, in the league, he obviously might have had a couple more, but I haven't done that much research. Which player
So
received
some of them could have been Martin Dubravka then.
Nick Pope? It is Nick Pope.
I know, I'm joking.
Okay.
Don't take my
Just
one
being
little
an
win away
arse.
from me.
Unlike you, Michael. Which player received the most yellow cards for Newcastle this season?
Dan
Joe
Burn.
Linton.
Burn, Joe Linton, Nick.
Joe Linton.
Bruno.
Ooh.
Oh, no,
Bruno.
about Joe Linton, actually.
Who you going with?
Cool.
I'll go for Bruno.
Correct. Bruno, 9 yellow cards.
Nice.
9 yellow cards. That's,
Oh,
to be
yeah, because he
fair,
had to behave, didn't he?
You did.
that was the season before, wasn't it?
Oh, no. Was it?
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
thought Dan
was the
Burn got
season.
his 10 card ban.
I hope I'm not wrong. Somebody tell us if I'm wrong. I'm sure you'll absolutely
No,
slaughter
Dan
us in the
Burn.
comments. So let's hope for it. Right. It's like a who am I question. I think it's easy, but we'll see. I made 36 appearances for Newcastle this season in the league, but didn't score a single goal. I'm a fullback, known for
Tino
pace.
Livramento.
Correct. Well done. Thought it was pretty easy, but I was surprised. I know he doesn't shoot very often, but I was surprised. Has he scored for us yet, other than like in the Premier League? I mean, I know he
Yeah,
scored
he
a
had
couple
that-
against.
Wolves. He scored a worldie against
where he
Wolves
fouls
where he
out.
danced through and then he fell over at the end.
I do
Oh, yeah.
remember it now.
Last
actually.
minute.
I do remember it now. Well done.
But he won't shoot. He gets into so many good positions and then he's
does.
thinking, shoot, and he squares it.
Yeah. Maybe it's for
annoying.
coaching or maybe it's a confidence thing. This next one surprised me a lot, so I'm not going to give too much away. I'll tell you why it surprised us. Who netted 6 goals in the Premier League and 3 assists? There's only one player who's got 6 goals and 3 assists this season.
For Newcastle, yeah.
For Newcastle.
Shaw.
I'm trying to play off the fact that you said it was a surprise.
It is, I think.
Fab Shaw.
So Ian's went
Anthony
Shaw.
Gordon?
Anthony Gordon for Michael. Joe.
Burn.
6 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah.
Nick.
He scored 1 goal.
I know. I think
Ian
know.
knows he backs it every time.
I think I'm just.
I'm just
I
going to
was
say
overthinking
Joe
it 'cause
Linton,
he
but
said
I
it
know
was a
it's not him.
surprise. Yeah.
The correct answer is Anthony Gordon. Well done, Mike. I was going to see if
Well
anybody
done,
else got it.
Michael.
But how poor is that from Gordon? From
That is, yeah.
over 10
That is
goals and
poor.
over 10 assists in the season before to have 6 goals and 3 assists is what's happened to him this season? That's a question for a pod another time, I guess. Right, final one. It's a little bit of a. I don't really know if I like this question, but we're going to give it a go. It's because I think there's more than one person. I don't want to give a position away because I think you'll get it easy, but I'm going to give a position away and we'll see if it is easy or not. Which defender scored 4 goals for Newcastle in the Premier League this season?
Fabian Shaw.
That's going to be Fab Shaw.
Fab Shaw. I thought it was too easy as well, but it's because Ian said Burn won. And then obviously Tino didn't score and then Lewis Hall got injured. So I didn't really like that last one, but I was going to keep it in. Maybe we should ask that one first. But yeah, Fab Shaw. I have no idea who scored the most points. If I had to guess, it's probably out of Michael and Ian. Am I right there? Nick got one with Bruno.
I got one.
We've had a class season. We all won.
Yeah,
Who cares? Yeah, exactly. We're all winners.
Perfectly.
Yeah, Michael.
And again, but honestly, he's just a
Football
magician.
was the winner.
He's a magician. Football's the winner. No, it's not. Newcastle United the winner, as always. Right. Thank you very much. I know this has been a longer pod because there's all 5 of us, and we've had way too much fun doing it. Thank you for everybody who has ever downloaded or streamed any of our episodes on this season. I can't speak for everybody. I'll let everybody kind of go around what we thought, but I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I've thoroughly enjoyed doing it with you 4. It's been an absolute pleasure for me. It's been a pleasure, I hope, for people listening. But yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add anything before we say goodbye for this season.
Just thank you and looking forward to next season already. Just to
Yeah,
sound a
we
little
will
bit
be.
sloppy, but
We will be broadcasting through the summer. Actually, after a short
we
break,
will, but yeah.
We've got
we want to
June
look
off.
at the pre-season tour and lots of transfer stuff, and maybe even the
Hopefully
Club
lots
World
and
Cup
lots of
if we can get
transfer,
involved
yeah,
quick
definitely.
enough.
Lots of transfers. Michael Grahamslaw signing for Newcastle United as the backup right winger.
And then
We are looking for
will
a
be
set
back.
piece coach, to be fair. I might put my name down.
There you go. There you go. Michael will not be on the pod because he'll be way too heavily involved with the actual team.
Nah,
Anyway.
it doesn't take a lot.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure as always. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Give us a little bit of time off in June and we'll be straight back.
Oh yeah, I need to end it.
I don't have the button.
We're all just sitting there like goons.
I don't have the button.
Every club, every day.
That's the one.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Got there eventually.